set all that aside and then do the job? Because I guess it can't get in your head too much.
Not really, just because you end up, you're in the studio and you're working so much, you kind of end up just enjoying it and forgetting that. But I actually had auditioned for Doctor Who before to play Mel's. And my grandma was devastated I didn't get the part.
Yeah, but I know why you didn't get the part, because they were like, there's this girl who they wanted to give the part to, but they were like, but we're gonna hold off because she's gonna be the companion. Or she could.
Well, I remember thinking, they're never gonna cast me as Karen Gillan's best friend because I'm just too short next to her. I literally remember having that exact thought. They would never cast us together as childhood friends.
How about the both of you? Did you ever have to set aside that weight, that legacy? Because if it gets in your head, you can't do the job.
Yeah, I find you get moments of it. On the 50th, I got the moment of it when you, David Tennant, and John Hurt were having a conversation, and I had to say something, and the three of you turned and looked at me.
I remember that moment. In the TARDIS.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I kept falling to pieces every time.
Yeah, I remember that. That was good.
I think the thing is, though, that because the show is so much part of the British culture, that anybody who has an opportunity to be on the show, it is a big deal, because it's something in a funny sort of way that you never imagined that will ever happen to you, but somehow it's so much part of everybody's life in England. I mean, it is as part of our life as the Queen is, in a way. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, so I don't think it's necessarily that it's intimidating, but it's sort of like, oh my God, I've just sewn my own thread into this incredible cultural blanket.
Yeah.
That's a nice way.
Yeah, it's a wonderful way of thinking about it.
I think it's because everyone's got a story about it, or everyone's got, I remember when I was 12 and that was my doctor, or who was your doctor, so everyone's got a kind of reference point, whether, you are 4 now, or, my grandma, in a way, which is quite unusual.
Yeah, the thing that kind of blows my mind when I think about this show now is that I grew up with it as a kid on PBS, probably like many of you folks in there, but it wasn't really part of our culture so much here in the States, and yet now we're 11 years, 12 years into it being back and being on consistently, and now there are kids that are watching it consistently on major networks that are growing up with it. That kind of blows my mind, because we are now raising this generation of American Whovians.
Yeah. You're forcing your children to watch Doctor Who.
I mean, just sort of like let that set in, that legacy is now beginning sort of in a very fresh, new way in the States.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I also think that we've been very fortunate in England with the BBC primarily, but also actually with our commercial channels as well. They've always been very, very good at creating children's programming. So aside from Doctor Who, we actually have children's news programs that have won awards that are absolutely brilliant, and we've had amazing children's series other than Doctor Who. And so and one thing that I was always aware of when I came to the States was I feel in a way sort of really positive children's television in terms of educating, challenging, is sort of lacking here. You have Sesame Street, fine, but a lot of it is about sort of consumerism, pop culture, and in a way, it's not that I'm getting on a moral high horse, but I think that there is an enormous hole that needs to be filled with really good children's television. And I think that's why Doctor Who has taken off so phenomenally here. It's because children are given something that they can really invest themselves in, that it makes them think, can make them a little scared. They're not using, the Doctor never uses weapons to defeat his enemies, he uses his brains. And I think it's really positive.